What's up? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fantasy Filmball, the show where we turn movies into sports and sports into something we don't talk about here. My name's Matt.
My name's Dill. You may notice behind me, Center's poster still up, Center's shirt's on. But guess what? I wanted to hop on here and record with Matt immediately after these awards are done. So I didn't have time to switch out the poster. But I do have time so we can put on the beanie. We can put on some shades. I don't know where my little goatee hand sign is. I thought it was right over here for all my other movie stuff. It wasn't. So for the time being, we're going to be like this for this episode because you can probably guess one battle after another basically ran the stage. It maybe had one slip up here or there, but it overperformed with a win and it won all of the big prizes it was nominated for.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan, you say you misplaced that goatee stick thing, but you could have been like me and gone method and just grown
If
a
only I could
beard.
grow something right here. It's
Oh,
here
man.
and it's here. There's nothing here.
It's, close enough, close enough. But yeah, you're right. One battle, 1-6. I would actually say, though, I don't think it did overperform. If anything, it lost out on cinematography, which we'll get to. We'll do every category, but that is a crazy loss, statistically crazy loss. But yeah, I mean, one thing I want to ask you is how do you feel with how the awards tonight went, seeing as, Sinners, your favorite movie of the year, did not end up winning all the prizes. I know that you do love One Battle, so to you it was like it was a win-win. But I just want to read the temperature. How you feeling?
I feel pretty good overall in terms of the quality of the winners. I would say in most categories, either my favorite or my second favorite of the nominees walked away with the win. However, what I can say in terms of predictions, we both went 20 of 24. And you could say from our episode, if we maybe listened to each other and were more open to what the other one was saying, we could have gone 22 of 24. We both got cinematography wrong. I would assume almost everyone got cinematography wrong. Best
Uh,
animated short feature wrong.
yes.
And the number three on awards expert did win that. So the majority of people lost that as well. However, you got both supportings wrong. I got those right. You got casting right, international feature right. I got those wrong. We switched those things with each other. Then boom, we're 22 of 24, nearly perfect. And that could be, I haven't seen what awards update has updated yet, but I would assume whoever's number one is probably 22 or 21 of 24.
I could see someone be 23. Could see someone be 23. Honestly, this is one of the most predictable years that we've had in recent history. There was really no major surprise outside of Sinners and cinematography, and that was the predicted frontrunner for months on end. It only lost its frontrunner status after losing BAFTA, BSC, and ASC. One thing that I wish that I listened to from you is the Oscars either go 4 for 4 with BAFTA or they go 4 for 4 with SAG. That's how it's been for the last like 5 years. And I was like, well, let's say they go 2 to 4 with SAG. Let's just do that. And in that video, I said, I know Sean Penn is winning, but I wanted to go with my heart and just hope that something else happens. And I know that I should have gone with Amy Madigan because the SAG correlation lining up and everything. But Monday morning quarterback.
Monday Morning Quarterback is right. This is a channel that we say we don't talk about sports, but I think sports comes into handy a lot of times when we're talking about awards races because we're in March right now. March Madness is kicking off next week, and Sinners winning in cinematography is the perfect example of that 12 seed that you see all the time upset the 5 seed, where it makes sense. They have what you need. They just played a weaker conference. They haven't had those big wins. Sinners, it won all of its critics groups. You can say that's its conference play, its regular season play. It just hasn't had a chance to play against those top 25 opponents. Then your 5 seeds won battle. It won the BAFTA, it won BSC, it won ASC. But when it has to go against something that has maybe a little bit more passion, maybe a little bit more of a narrative, with this year being the first year that the tech and below the line craft people had their names on the ballots. Senators is a monumental win in that category. And you could say, hey, maybe that was a large reason for why it pulled off this upset. Still, I'm shocked that it couldn't at least pull off ASC, but I mean, I still think it's a good win at the end of the day. I think both of those films have amazing cinematography. Like I said, overall in the night, outside of maybe like two categories, my favorite or my second favorite in the category did take home the prize.
For Autumn Arkapaw to win, it's a big deal, very big deal, and very happy for her. Even if it wasn't my pick in the category, it is a historic win.
How did one battle lose out on cinematography but take casting? But I think it goes back to what your argument was in our prediction video. The argument I did agree with, but I was just like, but Sinners has, I think, the same thing here is those two films have basically mirror polar opposite or polar adjacent reasons why they would win casting. They each have casting a star that has worked with this director in one of the big name roles. They have filling out the rest of the top of their ensemble with names that you may not normally see in a role like this, but then they also have finding a brand new talent that you haven't seen before. If it's Chase Infinity, where she may have been in a TV show that hasn't aired yet, but this is her big screen debut, and Miles Caden, who may has some singing credits with like Jay-Z and her, but hasn't made his appearance on the screen. But then you go down the rest of the casting sheet, and whether it's with centers, the people that you meet at the barn, or the people that you pick up along the way, or if one battle, it's the various officers that work with Sean Penn, or the Christmas Adventure Club people, or some of the people who are at the Revolutionaries. Like each person down this cast is so picture perfect, and they may be an obscure name, but they work so well in this role. It's just One Battle was the film that did win Best Picture, and I guess this is only 1 year stats to go off of, but I think going forward, if our Best Picture winner makes sense for a casting, it might just win casting going forward, and it's not going to be what some people thought of being a overlap with SAG Ensemble or something that they would pull from the BAFTAs. It's just going to be the strongest film that makes the most sense.
I would say, yeah, this really set the stage for what we look for in casting going forward. And in my opinion, that is the strongest film in Best Picture that also has an acting win. So this year, you've got One Battle After Another, the Best Picture winner, and it has Sean Penn. I think that if Sean Penn were not the winner of supporting actor, I'm not sure One Battle would have won Best Casting. I think it will always be tied, or the majority of the time, I think Best Casting will be tied to an acting win and strong Best Picture buzz. So this is going to be a tech category like that. Like it's more of an editing category than it is production design or visual effects, which are extremely tied to the quality of the craft instead of the passion behind the film in general.
But that's the thing I think works for One Battle and Sinners is it has the passion of the film, but it also has the quality of the craft. I think it will be very interesting going in a few years where if we have a film, I'm trying to think of an example as of late, maybe like a film like Nomadland, where yes, they had an argument for casting, but they didn't have the precursors, so to say, and they're going against the film that fits so much of what casting sort of is like with Sound of Metal that year, or I'm blanking on what some of the other or like Minari that year, what would have won the category, because I think every year since, if the Best Picture nominee or the Best Picture winner was nominated, they would win. Coda, if nominated, probably beats West Side Story.
Yes.
Oppenheimer or Everything Everywhere beats Banshees or Elvis or whatever. Oppenheimer beats Barbie and American Fiction. And then last year, obviously,
And
Anora
Nora
would
wins for
beat
sure. Yeah.
Amelia or Conclave or whatever else, Complete Unknown that would have been there. So, like, I think that we need to find a year where the Best Picture film doesn't fit what you would think of
Green
as
Book.
casting. Yeah, like Green Book or Shape of Water or something like that is what would win in that scenario. Does Green Book still win, or does it go to another film that has what you would look for and what we expect to be casting winners going forward? Maybe a few months ago, I made a here's what the stunt category would have looked like for the last 10 years if we had it. Maybe in the downtime before Oscar season really kicks up next year, we'll make a hey, here's what casting would have looked like for the last 10 years. Let us know down below if that's something that you would like. But I guess getting back to tonight, the Oscars, One Battle, as you mentioned, it gets its wins. Cinematography, it may miss out, but everything else it was expected to win, it does take home. Sean Penn doesn't need to show up, still wins supporting actor. PTA finally gets his Oscars, and he gets three of them for picture, director, and screenplay. And the film also takes home editing. So I think One Battle had a pretty good night for a frontrunner. I think, like you said, it's akin to something like Oppenheimer. Maybe it loses a 50-50 race, but it wins everything else, just like Anora, it wins everything. And that might be our trend going forward, as Best Picture may have like one thing that teeters off but then it makes it back up by winning another category where it's not the consensus, even if it makes so much sense the day after, like you had talked about.
Hmm. I will also say Sean Penn's win, even though I wasn't predicting it because I was holding on to hope that Stellan Skarsgård might win, this is one of my favorite wins of the evening. And genuinely, I mean, I would say Stellan Skarsgård would probably be a top 10 winner in the category for me all time, but Sean Penn, number 11 for me of all of the supporting actor winners in history. I think that is a fantastic win. He was my runner up in the category, and even though I'm disappointed that Stellan Skarsgård didn't get his time to shine, I am always happy to see someone win without a career narrative, without anything like that helping them forward. So Sean Penn once again proves that you can win an Oscar while not giving a shit at all about the awards industrial complex.
And I honestly think he did the right thing. I think if you have made it known you do not care about awards, why should you cave at the last award show that you're most likely going to win and give a speech? No, you stick it to them. You hold true. You stand your ground and be like, yeah, screw this. I don't care about this. Give me the award anyways. It's going to
Also, I will
Ukraine.
say Sean Penn shutting the fuck up and not saying anything definitely helped his chances to win.
It probably did, and I think it would have been fun another scenario if he had given a speech, let's say at the Golden Globes, what that speech would like. I said in a live stream I did earlier today of like, I don't know, I feel like Penn would kind of give the speech people want at these award shows. Like maybe not in the same vein of like the Billie Eilish Grammy speech, but something like along those lines of sticking it to someone that people don't want to hear positive things about and feeding into what people who watch award shows for the most part want to hear other speeches instead of saying thank you to my agent and thank you to the studio heads and blah blah blah.
Well, speaking of speeches, my roommate has been outside my room listening to Amy Madigan's speech on repeat. There was just such genuine joy in her win. She was so not surprised, but she was just so gracious and she was just having so much fun. And I think part of that is being the first award of the night. You don't get to have nerves lingering over you the whole time, but she was just having a ball. And I loved that. And it's also just one of the coolest wins of all time. Like a horror performance, the sole nominee from that movie, just incredible. And I remember months and months ago when I first switched to Amy Madigan. Maybe I should have stuck with that all the way through. But I remember switching to Amy Madigan as my Best Supporting Actress winner. Got heavily criticized in the comments for that one. People calling me an absolute idiot for predicting someone from a horror movie to win on the comparison of Rosemary's Baby. And this was totally a Rosemary's Baby win because Ruth Gordon won for Rosemary's Baby as one of two nominations for that movie in a horror film in the 60s. And that was another performer who had that long time career narrative. And here's another person with a long time career narrative with a memorable horror villain role as one of its movies. Well, in this case, the only nomination for that movie. So, Rosemary's Baby, welcome back. Here you are.
What Weapons really says to me about this year's awards race and looking forward to next year's awards race is just because you and I may see a movie that we love that isn't Academy bait, isn't the type of thing that they typically nominate, if there's passion, the passion's going to come through. That's what the Modern Academy has shown us. You go to last year, Anora. You go 10 years ago, Anora's not getting nominated for stuff. The
It's
Substance,
substance.
it's not getting nominated for stuff. Going a few years before that, Everything Ever All at Once, probably not getting nominated for stuff. All those films had immense passion from all corners of the internet, from older Academy members who are like, hey, that's an actor, that's a director, that's a writer that I know or I like. And then you get to younger people who are like, oh my gosh, that character is such an icon. These characters mean so much to me. This story is so cool and so interesting. And I think that same ideology can apply to Sinners, which is our runner up here for Best Picture. It takes home 4 prizes. And I remember going to the screening texting you during the first credit scene because I didn't know there was another credit scene saying, I love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies I've seen in years. no way this is going to be an above the line player. And what is it? It ended up being the most nominated movie in Academy history. 16 nominations, and it wins for those. One of those is everything you said about Amy Madigan, I think also applies over to Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. This is such a cool, such a fun, and such an inspired victory. I totally understand if someone's out there saying, hey, look at this batch of nominees. He might be the weakest, or he's not the strongest of this bunch. But I think that same stuff could be said about Madigan over in supporting. But both of these wins, I think, are just so interesting and so unique for what they are and how they went about winning their respective categories.
Yeah, I mean, Amy Madigan, my second favorite of the five supporting actress nominees. Michael B. Jordan, I like him as a guy. I think he's a great movie star. I think the only time I've really loved a performance of his is Fruitvale Station, maybe Black Panther, maybe Black Panther. I'm not a big Michael B. Jordan fan as an actor, but I do think that he is a charismatic personality. I love the guy. Um, would have been my last choice in this category. So I won't say too much on this. I just, if there was an actor this year who played multiple roles in the same movie on screen at the same time that deserved this prize, I probably wouldn't have gone Michael B. Jordan. Probably would have preferred Robert Pattinson for that very specific niche. But again, I really like him as a personality. I think he gave a great speech. I don't love the win.
Comments would probably say what you just said there, but for Wagner Moura, for the secret agent playing multiple people as well. But yeah, talking about Sinners wins at large, I do like the Michael B. Jordan. I think we're kind of opposites with Jordan and Madigan. I love Weapons as a movie, but Madigan's by far my least favorite part. But I'm not mad about her win in this category. But talking about some of Sinners' other victories on the night, it takes original screenplay. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan both walk out tonight Oscar winners. There was someone a few weeks ago who said this was before the SAG win. Just imagine Coogler, Michael B. on the red carpet afterwards, taking a picture together, holding their Oscars together. And then SAG happened, and then the narrative formed, the opportunity arose itself. And I mean, as a huge fan of this movie, as a huge fan of these two working together and their work without each other, I think this is a great win for both of them, and I'm really excited to see what Coogler can follow Sinners up with. Hopefully, it's not Black Panther 3. Hopefully, he gets to do one more for him before he returns back to Marvel. But if the Tonight showed me anything, the fact that the Avengers boys handed him his prize might say that Black Panther 3 is on the horizon. Ludwig gets a win in original score, though, so all the boys who work together over in Black Panther will reunite here in, I guess, 2 years.
Hey now, man, I will say, my two favorite Ryan Coogler movies are both of the Black Panther movies. So maybe I'll get absolutely flamed for that in the comments, but I love Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Also very good. Not as good, but very good. But yeah, I mean, what can you say? Original screenplay, it made a lot of sense at the very end of the day. Made a lot of sense. And score, great. My favorite of Ludwig's three wins, for sure.
Well, I would say 3 wins is great. Four would have been amazing. Not for Tenet a few years ago, but for I Lied to You Tonight with Best Original Song. I
Yeah.
understand. I've heard people talk if it's in our comments on our Discord, on other YouTube channels, or on TikTok or whatever. I understand the golden love, but I don't get how if you're a viewer, you're watching The Portal, the two songs, and be like, yeah, give me that one. Or tonight, watching the performances on the stage and be like, yeah. Give me that one. I don't get it, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, I don't understand the win. It's just not for me. But I Lied to You. Would have been a great winner. Golden. It makes sense.
I like Golden a lot. I like Golden a lot more than I think most others in this community do. I think it's a very good pop song. It's catchy. It does exactly what it needs to. But I think I Lied to You is a fantastic song. Now, granted, I do think the scene that I Lied to You is tied to, very unpopular opinion. I don't like the scene. I think it's corny, but the song, incredible. Incredible track and definitely should have won. And I do think that if Sinners had won Best Picture, I think it would have taken this from Golden. But look, Golden is such a massive sensation. It has, I mean, it was at the Grammys. It has won every single precursor that it possibly could win. So it makes sense as a winner. And I like the song. I like the song. So can't knock that win.
As I was watching, song was like right after cinematography. I was like, oh my gosh, Sinner's just upset there. It broke all the stats. One battle had won everything. It's time for the Sinner's comeback to happen, at least in a few awards. Like, song's up next. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And then it didn't happen. K-pop also won animated feature. We all expected that coming in tonight. And I guess let's talk about some of these specialized feature categories because this is where I personally went against the grain in both of these from other people. And one of the categories I did get right. You were there with me in documentary feature from Mr. Nobody Against Putin. Our argument was Perfect Neighbor had four, five, you want to say, opportunities to showcase it is the front runner, it is going to win. Let alone losing the BAFTA to Mr. Nobody. It lost the DGA, it lost the PGA, it lost the Gotham to My Undesirable Friends. Like, it had so many chances to be like, hey, I am the movie that's supposed to win this category. And it didn't, and it didn't, and it didn't, and it didn't. So Putin won. And that same argument is what I was using over an international feature for The Secret Agent against Sentimental Value. And that one did not pan out for me. So this is where maybe I got both supportings over you. You get a point up on me here in international feature.
But that same argument doesn't make sense, Dylan, because sentimental value did not lose everywhere. It
It
didn't.
did.
It
My thing was at Critics' Choice. Yes, it got the best picture. It wasn't eligible in the international feature category, but it was the front runner heading into that night for multiple awards. It came out with zero wins. We go to the Golden Globes. It was the front runner for multiple awards. It only won for Stellan. We go to the actors. Goose Egg. And yes, Secret Agent Goose Egg there too, but you would assume the film that has English dialogue with English starring actors probably should get a nomination, especially if Amelia Perez could last year. And then we go to the BAFTAs, Gold Derby, Awards Expert, YouTubers in droves. So confident it's winning original screenplay, it's winning Stellan Skarsgård. I wasn't there personally, but other people were. And it loses both of those. And Secret Agent, while it missed Wagner on the long list, it got the surprise screenplay nomination over It Was Just an Accident, showing, hey, maybe people are more receptive to this movie. My thing was just everywhere sentiment value had gone, even to the Cannes Film Festival, it underperformed with what it was expected to win. But ultimately, my whole case of why I was not overtly confident with it was the fact that it had its best day anywhere Oscar nomination morning with 9 nominations. And to me, that is what I should have listened to more than the other stuff because the 9 nominations at the Oscars, people saying 16 for nothing, 9 for nothing for an international movie. It was enough to come out victorious here.
I hear you. International feature as a win there is not the same as it underperforming or underperforming in all of those different award shows. It still won where it needed to. It did not show that it was weaker than The Secret Agent. The Secret Agent just I don't know. I'm gonna keep saying anywhere that sentimental value underperformed, Secret Agent underperformed too, except the Golden Globes. That is the
And
only
can.
place that's no. Sentimental value won the runner-up prize there.
But I would
It
say
was
two
number
prizes
two.
is bigger up than the runner up. We could go to like last year with Amelia taking multiple prizes while the runner up got nothing.
I really don't think it's an underperformance to win the runner-up prize at the biggest film festival in the world. That is not an underperformance. Not winning the palm does not mean you underperformed. I, regardless, sentimental value wins. And I'm so sorry, Brazil. I will have that video for all of you guys. I'm very busy right now, but I will have that video soon. Um, so sorry for your loss. I'm very happy because I love sentimental value. If you watch the channel, you know that I am a stan of that movie. And, you know, very deserved win here. I would have been miffed, to say the least, if Secret Agent had pulled out a victory at the end. Because that was, I think, my least favorite in the category. Yeah, it was my least favorite in the category. Ugh. Documentary, though, yeah, you're totally right. Perfect Neighbor lost everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So you got to look for an alternative. And to me, it was, do we go with the good feeling crowd pleaser of Come See Me in the Good Light, which doesn't seem to have much passion, or do we go for the political film? The one that is making a statement about the Russia-Ukraine war, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, that made a lot of sense to go with. So we ended up landing on the right winner in that category. But I will say, I was not a fan of the lineup of this category. Normally, I have like a 10 out of 10 movie in this category that I root for so hard, whether it's soundtrack to a coup d'etat or Navalny. There's movies that I love every year in documentary, and I did not have a film in this category that I love. So I just quickly want to shout out some of the films that I wish got nominated that didn't, because there were great documentaries this year. They just were not honored by the Oscars. Those being Coexistence My Ass, Apocalypse in the Tropics, My Undesirable Friends Part 1, Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk, and The Tale of Cillian, I think is great. Henry Fonda for President, Zodiac Killer Project, Marley Matlin Not Alone Anymore, The Klezmer Project. There were fantastic documentaries this year that the Academy looked over. So, um, yeah, all this to say, I love docs. If you enjoyed watching the docs this year, watch more docs. There's lots of good docs, and a lot of the time, the best ones are not nominated by the Oscars. But isn't that the case in every category, right?
That is right. A lot of people would say that for so many categories, including how so many people got so up in arms about this winner making the Best Picture lineup of F1 winning Best Sound. So many people were mad at the fact that that got in over this movie or that movie or that movie. What I will say is, I am the person who loves F1. I am the reason why it was a Best Picture movie. I understand why people don't like it. Sound, though, you put your bias aside. Sound win makes sense. Same thing for the three Frankenstein categories. It makes sense even if the movie is not your cup of tea. Avatar and visual effects as well. Tech categories this year. We said this coming into our final prediction episodes. Those are the easy ones. Don't think too much about them. And if you didn't think too much about them, 5 easy points in the correct column.
But yeah, F1, easy win pick. Same with Avatar, easy win pick. And I saw people overthinking it, saying, well, it's gotta be from a Best Picture nominee. You have to go with F1 or you have to go with Sinners
Sinners.
in visual effects. But like sometimes you just have Avatar there. Sometimes you just have Avatar. Now, what else do we have to talk about at this point? Is I mean,
Shorts,
well, we
shorts,
haven't
shorts, shorts.
we haven't mentioned Jessie Buckley.
We
Jessie
haven't mentioned
Buckley,
Jessie Buckley,
because
lead
she just
actress.
swept. There's nothing
Sweep.
to talk about.
Exactly. There's nothing to talk about. I feel bad because she's getting so much flack online right now for The Bride. But like her performance in Hamnet, I get. I'm here with a Hamnet detractor, but her performance in Hamnet is that stuff. It is that stuff. It's the stuff of sweepers in a year like this that was so scattered in our acting categories. It makes sense that she was the one consistent show after show. And I think she gave, I would say, of the three acting nominees that we got to see a speech from, my favorite speech of the bunch. Hopefully, she can do a better film in the next few after The Bride.
Yeah, Bride was a mess, but it has nothing to do with her win for Hamnet. Yeah, I don't really love or even like the performance, but I love her as a performer. I think her work over the years has been amazing. I love her in Wild Rose. I love her in Women Talking. She has been delivering really great stuff for quite a long time. Also, she's great on stage. I mean, she did Cabaret and I heard she was fantastic. I've seen clips of the performance. I didn't get to see the performance, but like, she is one of the great young actors right now, and it's really awesome to see her uh, given this level of praise, this level of accolade. Even if I don't love the performance or even really like the performance, I'm happy to see her rewarded. So that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Sometimes it's the right person with the movie that maybe isn't the right movie, in my opinion.
And now that's going to bring us to the category that always makes and breaks everyone's predictions. And I'm trying to see if Awards Expert has finally updated. And they have. Matt, you are correct. Top person went 23 of 24. Their one incorrect category was casting.
Wow. That's
There
shocking. I would
one, two,
expect that to
three,
be one of the
four.
easier ones.
There was four people who went 23 of 24. So one had cast or two had casting wrong. Okay, so do they all just get casting wrong? Because this is important to me is to know where people got. Three of the four so far have casting wrong, and now for the last one also has casting wrong. All
That's
four people who went 23 of
logically,
24 got
if
casting
you're
wrong.
predicting a one battle sweep, why would you why would you go sinners in casting?
And you would think 20 out of 24, 84% would be pretty good. I'm 1014th out of 14K. Uh, not very good. The app is still a little buggy, so I can't look at my following, so I can't see where you're at right now. But I just want to say that before we dive into the shorts, because I wanted to see if anyone who was at the top of the leaderboards got one of these shorts wrong, because I did, you did, but a lot of people were probably saved in live action short. But we had two winners, the first time in like 12, 13 years, whenever Skyfall
Yeah,
was, to have a tie.
2012. Yeah,
Yeah,
Skyfall and Zero Dark 30.
which is insane. And I mean, it makes sense. I think from our conversations, we were all pretty in unison. Our documentary short winner was going to be All the Empty Rooms. It goes on to win this category. And in live action short, we said, hey, all of these movies besides I guess Butcher Stain has a real reason to win this category. Jane Austen's period drama is the funny one. A Friend of Dorothy fits what the old guard of the Academy would probably like. Two People Exchanging Saliva is very artsy. It's got the fun name as well as being very, you could say, hip. And The Singers is Netflix. It's music. It's the thing that was the most visible of these nominees. So it makes sense that the hip, fun thing with the cool name ties with the most visible movie. It's just crazy that we got a tie and it's in a short category of all things.
I mean, that does feel like a category that is most prone to ties because a lot of people are going to abstain from voting, which means there's less votes. Also, just to update you on awards expert here, I did not update my awards expert to my final
Oh,
predictions.
is that a good thing?
So, no, bad
Oh.
thing. I got 19 right.
No.
19 right. So here's the differences I had. So this was on March 3rd. Our final predictions were on March 8th. So on
Okay.
March 8th, I swapped a few categories, but I didn't swap it on awards expert. So March 3rd, here are the differences that I had. I did have Sean Penn winning. And then at the last minute, I was like, I'm going to go with Stellan for my heart. For my heart. I
Dubs.
had Sinners winning casting. And then I swapped it for our final predictions and I had Mr. Nobody against Putin not winning. So I
Wrong.
swapped Mr. Nobody. I went up two and I went down one.
Not not
So
not the best transaction you could have made there, but hey, that's why we record our predictions here separately for the history books of the Fantasy Filmball server.
history books. Yeah.
We'll have that tie here, where theoretically, if you just pick Sean Penn, you would have beat me by one. So, boom.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, live action short. Quickly talking about it. Really cool that it's a tie. The Singers, very well made movie. Very, very visible, right? Again, Netflix has it. Makes a lot of sense. I'm so happy that Two People Exchanging Saliva was one of the two winners the entire time that the singers were giving their speech. All I was thinking is, I hope to God that the other winner here is Two People Exchanging Saliva because I will piss myself if it's a friend of Dorothy. I will be so, ugh,
I didn't even think
ugh,
about this during
so
the
happy about
telecast,
it.
but theoretically, all it could have been is two people exchanging saliva. ABC, Butcher, Friend, Jane is before Singers.
Oh, you're right. They
I,
did it alphabetically.
I didn't even think about that,
I
but
just thought it was random.
now looking at it here on Wikipedia, seeing singers above is like, oh, that's just ABC order.
Yeah. I didn't even think about alphabetical. That does so they could have known that they won, But also, okay, imagine being in the audience as one of the other four films, knowing that there's a second winner
Yeah.
waiting.
But yeah, animated short is where we do lose a point here. Going with consensus proved to not be the truth, as has shown. Awards expert and Gold Derby typically go one or two out of three. This year, they would have had two people exchanging saliva. They would have had all the empty rooms, but they would not have had the girl who cried pearls in an animated short film. We had Forever Green. That didn't win either. But number one, I'm pretty sure was Butterfly at the end of the day, and Retirement Plan
Yeah.
was number two.
Yeah. Now here's the reason I didn't go with The Girl Who Cried Pearls, which was my favorite in the category. I have held strong to films that are not in the English language can't win this category. And I didn't know that there was an English language dub, and that's likely what was playing in theaters and on the Academy platform. I didn't know this. I thought that this film was just in French. I didn't realize that they did an English language version of it. So the whole reason that I wrote it off and said this is not going to win, the entire reason for that is that I didn't know it was in English. Otherwise, I would have fucking predicted it.
That's partially on me because when he said that, I was like, I don't think that's right, but I didn't verbally correct you or anything. I just trimmed that out of the video.
Look, it's set in France. It's made in Montreal. The version I watched was fully in French. I didn't know that there was an English version. I didn't know
because
that's what they were screening.
Because yeah, when I listened to whether it was Ryan Castleman, whether it was the Twins, whether it was Next Best Picture, no one was mentioning that was an international movie. They just kept saying that it's stop motion, stop motion. That's why it can't win. And I was like, but Matt's saying it's French. So I was like, doesn't matter. It's stop motion. I'm not considering it anyways, but it
Look, man,
wins.
you got to trust me on the shorts.
I, I do. And we went together. We got two right. We got one
I
wrong.
know. Maybe
What
maybe
stinks?
don't trust me on but it was in French. I'm not crazy. But yeah, that's disappointing. I mean, fantastic win. Fantastic win. It was my favorite in the category that got nominated, so I'm so happy that it won. And finally, we have documentary short in which All the Empty Rooms wins. Very, very good. And of the choices that they could have made, one of the best. I would have preferred The Devil is Busy, but All the Empty Rooms, very, very strong and impactful speech too.
Gotta feel bad for the filmmaker who did Perfect Neighbor and The Devil is Busy,
Yeah.
over two within the span of like 5 minutes. But I think this year, if this may be a trend to go forward, I'm not sure what the stats looked like last year, but I'm pretty sure our winners here, if you want to say they were Girl Who Cried Pearls, two people exchanging saliva, not the singers, and All the Empty Rooms were the highest rated on Letterboxd in each category. I could be incorrect with the animated short, but I know two people exchanging saliva and All the Empty Rooms was number one in their respective categories. Well, that's all of our winners here for the Oscars. And I guess before we wrap things up, just looking here at awards expert for some people who are in the film ball community, shout out to Willow, 22 of 24, 43rd overall on the leaderboards out of 14K. That is the by far number one person I can see from our community here. We have a lot of 20 of 24s, but that puts you in the same boat as us. So can't give you too much credit there because that is also like 10 other people here. So 22 of 24, Willow, good job.
Good job, Willow. Awesome. I mean, that's the end. And we probably will be a little bit slower to get to next year's predictions. Um, Hopefully as soon as possible, but March and April, very, very busy time for both of us. So we'll keep posting some 2025 content until we have a moment where we can get together and record our predictions for next year. But next year, that's exciting. This is my favorite part of the year, Dylan, where we start thinking about what comes next year. Now, before we go, I just want to look back a little bit at our first predictions that we did back in March
Oh,
of
good.
last year. Back in March of last year. Um, so we did our first predictions March 31st last year. So I want to just go through what my top 10 for Best Picture was at that time. and we can maybe laugh. We can maybe, uh, yeah, we can maybe chat through where we went wrong or what we did well. So last year at the first video predictions that we did, I had Marty Supreme number one, Sentimental Value number two, and then I had Begonia, One Battle After Another, Wicked for Good, Frankenstein, No Other Choice, Rental Family, Avatar Fire and Ash, and I had Jay Kelly,
Yeah, I was
maybe.
trying to pull the video up now so I could see what I had in the video. I know in terms of my first predictions on awards experts, because we talked about this in our server, which you can join the link down in the description. I had 4 out of 10. I had One Battle at my 9. I had F1 at my 10. I had Begonia at my number 1. And I had Frankenstein at my number 3. So two of, I guess, my most confident, who I was least confident in. But having Hamnet on the outside looking in, probably, I think we both had Hamnet on the outside looking in, probably was not a great call from us considering how it was probably in the consensus 10 at this time. I was an avid, hey, A24, Safety bro, we got Benny. Marty, we don't need you. Clearly, that was the wrong way to go, and I was of the camp of since I was of the camp of Neon will buy their contender out of can. They did, but they already had one with them too. Sentiment value and the secret agent could coexist. We each got. Would you say you had 4 as well?
I had five
5. So
at
you
this
had
point
5.
last year.
You had 5. I had 4. Hopefully next year, whenever we do our first predictions, we can make those numbers go up.
Well, that's the thing, it's interesting to think back to those early predictions and go, we saw a lot of these. We saw the signs like that far out. And so I'm excited to see which of the films we pick this year can keep that buzz all year long and which of them end up crashing and burning. What are our after the hunts and our Heddas and Wicked for Goods of this year? And likewise, what are our Marty Supremes? I mean, that was one I predicted you were not on the train of, but what are our Begonias and what are our, um,
I
I
think
mean,
Sinners
we
is a
weren't
great one
on
because
Sinners.
I remember in our video, we both mentioned how we could see tech appeal for this. It was set, it was a throwback. We didn't know much details about it. We knew it was a vampire thriller sort of thing, but like we're like, well, production design, costumes was Ruthie Carter, Ludwig's on the score. There's going to be some music with it too. So maybe there could be like 3 or 4 tech noms. But I know I even said earlier in this episode, seeing the movie, I never would have expected it to get all the way to 16, being the runner up. But what films like that can withstand the whole season or come out of nowhere? Because like I've seen Project Hail Mary at this point, you'll get to see it here in the next week. It's not a Sinners, but I think it will do better than what some people may have been saying even like a month ago. I think this could be a very Top Gun Maverick like contender where it's very locked into a few certain categories, and it's just will it win those or are they just kind of nominations?
Thanks for going on this wild ride with us. It's always a pleasure. It's always so much fun to watch the awards race play out. You know, all of these movies have just gone down in cinema history. These are our crop of Oscar winners for this past year, and it's one Oscar year after another, and I'm ready for the next one. So, thanks so much for watching. As always, my name's Matt.
My name's Dill, and this has been Fantasy Filmball.